that I am a woman and that I am strong. I've always known I'm a woman, and I'm privileged enough that no one's fought me on that. And I just recently learned that I am strong. Growing up, I had it easy. Living on Easy Street, growing up in the 90s. And one thing I loved as a kid were all these TV shows, cartoons, games that were basically power fantasies. You know, you have the Power Rangers, and Pokemon, and Harry Potter, and all these worlds where like children would have powers and control, and they could do good and improve, and it was something I wanted. I wanted to be strong. I wished to be strong. But the old adage holds true that you need to be careful what you wish for. I grew up, I became a young woman, I met and eventually married a man. And when we got married, I thought it was the absolute right decision. This was going to be the love of my life. We're going to spend the rest of our days together. But time passed, and I found out through a series of events that we were not really working. We couldn't communicate. I couldn't seem to make him happy. And he couldn't give me what I wanted. And I was blind to it at first, but several instances kept happening, one of which was the time where I tackled a man on the side of the freeway. What had happened was my husband at the time was hosting a trivia show, a pub trivia show, every week. And I went out and I supported him. I thought that was the right thing to do, right? You take your time and your effort, you're like, I'm gonna be here for you, you're at your job, I'm here giving you the good hurrah. I don't think that, I hope that's not mine. And he had a few drinks. The pub was gracious enough to give him some drinks in the house. And when we were time to drive home, I offered to drive. Now I'm really thinking if that's mine or not. What's it? I don't think so. I'm sorry.
You're okay. Keep going.
Okay. So sorry. That's distracting me. So we're driving. I'm driving him home. I'm taking the wheel, saying like, "Oh, I got this for you." The thing that I thought was good. And we're coming up to this interchange that's just really intimidates me. Every time we drive through it, the traffic, the driving, everything's bad. And it's going smoothly. We're going at highway speeds until I see a flood of brake lights in front of us. And in a moment, time like dilates, and I panic. And my mind is like making the calculations of like how fast we're going now and how close those cars are. And I figure out, oh no, this is bad. So I try to react quickly. I hit the brakes. Fast enough so that we're not going to crash, but slow enough that the person behind us doesn't rear end us. And we come to a stop, and just perfect. We're fine. And for a microsecond, I thought I had done it. Unfortunately, a moment later, a loud crash with a sudden lurch forward. My husband and I both jerk, and we in fact did get rear-ended by someone who was not paying as much attention. And I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. We have to deal with the car damage and getting home, and like just everything flooded my mind at once, and I was exasperated. My husband was furious. He rolled down the window, shook his fist at a truck who was passing by us. I at the time thought, I was like, oh, that must have been the car that rear-ended us, and motioned for him to pull over to the side of the freeway. He listened for some reason, and I wanted to support my husband, like he must be doing this for some reason, right? So I also pulled over. He got out of the car and started having a very heated discussion with the truck driver behind us, the pickup truck driver. And I was sitting there, and I was just confused, dumbfounded. What's happening? what am I gonna do? Until I hear my husband scream out my name and say, call the police. I should have probably called the police. Instead, something in me said, oh, I have to help. This is urgent. I have to help him right now. So I fling open the car door. I jump out. I probably should have heard the cars passing by on the freeway, but all I could see was the darkness and the wind on my face as I run up to the kerfuffle behind the car, and this man is standing over my husband. And my first thought is well, I have to get him off. So I jump on his back. I jump on this man's back, and this is when I realized that he is much bigger than I first noticed. I must have felt like he was putting on a backpack. And he stood up and was still not out of being actually restrained by anything I was doing, just kind of shocked. And it was in this moment my husband pulled back a fist and punched him. I was shocked. I did not expect that to happen. Neither did the man, of course. I guess my husband didn't punch him very hard because he just kind of looked like his pride had been hurt. Very dejected. And so he just stood up and did what we probably all should have done from the beginning. He just walked away. He walked to the driver's seat of his truck, and that's when I finally take a look inside the truck that this guy had been driving. And in the passenger seat was this woman looking up from her phone, just shocked at what was happening. And I was like, oh, that's right. I didn't have to do anything. I could have just stayed in the car. I didn't have to drive. I could have not been a part of this like this woman was. I kind of snapped back to reality. And then the night ended poorly. You know, we had this damage to our car, a terrible sleep. I thought, this wasn't great, but at least I did the right thing, right? At least I was supportive. I jumped in there. I tried to help. But my husband was just very frustrated with me. He didn't like the way I was driving. He thought that it was my mistake to get rear-ended. He didn't like that I had run out and tackled the guy instead of just calling the police like he asked. And I'd love to say that it was immediately after this that I was like, no, something's not right with us. I should get a divorce. But it wasn't until this incident, several others built up over the years, and I journaled about them, and I looked back, and I, in the cold light of day, realized that this marriage was a big mistake. And I had to get out of it. I had to get a divorce. And facing that was hard. I was really ashamed that I had made this promise to this person and I was about to break it, really guilty that I was about to hurt them, really overwhelmed with everything I had to do, find a new place to live, what was my social circles, was that going to be like? It was so hard, such a hard thing for me to do. But I did it. Thank you.